This tutorial is one in a series that looks at the concept of shell structures in architecture. In this tutorial, we're going to create a hypercurved shell that's supported at 3 points. And in plan, it's going to be an equilateral triangle. So let's start by drawing that triangle in plan. So I'm going to use a polygon, and I'm going to set the number of sides to 3. And I'm going to use edge to draw that. I'm going to turn on my grid snap. So I'm going to draw the bottom edge of that triangle. Now I'm going to draw some guidelines in plan. So I'm going to draw an axis right down the middle of the equilateral triangle, and I'm going to draw 2 more axis lines from this corner to the mid of that side, and from this corner to the mid of that side. Okay, so it's going to be supported at 3 points, here, here, and here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by drawing the edge curve, three-dimensional edge curve. And we can use different types of geometry for that, and we can look at a couple of them. So let's draw a vertical line at this from this point. So I'm going to type in seaplane world front. I'm going to actually move that, just this is something for us that we should know how to do in Rhino, is set the origin of the seaplane to here. And a good command for that is seaplane 3 point. It's looking for my origin first, which is going to be this point here, and then whether or not it's vertical. It's already vertical, and we're starting with a vertical construction plane. So for my x-axis, I'm going to pick that point. And it's looking for orientation. I'm going to orientate it up. Okay, so now just a little bit easier for me to work with my construction plane orientated to the middle of that triangle. Okay, so let's bring out my curves toolbar, and let's use a hyperbola. This is going to be my focus. Okay, my focus was from top to bottom. Okay, so that's going to be my edge curve. Now, really, I'm going to create a curve along this axis, and you'll see in a minute how I do that. And I want it to be higher than the hyperbola. Okay, I want it to slope up. So I need a dimension. I didn't really have a dimension there, so let's do a dimension from that quadrant. So this is a vertical dimension. Okay, so higher than 9.55 feet. So let's draw a vertical line 15 feet. Okay, so 15 feet vertically. And I'm going to copy that line to the end of the axis. And what I've established is I've established 3 points for my arc. So I'm going to have a drastic arc that then just flattens or flat lines out. So I'm going to do that using my 3-point arc. I'm going to right click on the second button so I can use 3 points. Point 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and I'm going to mirror that along that center axis. Okay, it's a little tricky to see, But now I have this lower edge of the shell and then the taller edges of the shell. And I can use my surface from a network of curves, surface from network of curves, and I can choose that curve, and that curve. Enter. ABC is fine. Okay, so there's 1/3 of my shell. And I'm going to set my seaplane to world top. And now I can mirror that surface. And I can do that one more time. Okay, so there's my 3-point hypercurve shell. And when I say 3 points, I mean it's supported at 3 points. Now, another type of shell I can make out of that, I'll take this shell and move it out of the way. Okay, let's look at making another shell, and this time let's use a parabola. Now we'll have to change some of this geometry around a bit, so let's go ahead and click on parabola, and I have my object snap disabled, my grid snap is on, so it's usually a much taller shape. So I'm going to snap here, so that's top to bottom, and define the radius. Okay, so that's my edge, my parabola at the edge. Again, I want these curves to be higher. So I'll take my dimension to make a vertical dimension from, turn on my object snap, okay, from the height of that parabola to the bottom. So we have a little more than 15 feet. So we need to make this center geometry taller. So I'm going to delete that for now. So we'll use 20 feet for the height of those two vertical lines. So let's type in line from that intersection, 20 feet, enter. Use my shift key to keep it vertical, and I'll copy that. Okay, so now I can draw my 3-point arc by right-clicking on the second button. And we'll go ahead and mirror that. Okay, so let's do our surface from a network of curves. So this one, and the parabola. Okay, so we have that. A little bit of a different shape for our shell, using the parabola in lieu of the hyperbola. But in this case, I want to make this a saddle shell. So what I can do is I can reverse that parabola. So instead of it being from left to right, I can make it from right to left. Okay, so to get the saddle shell, what I'll do is I'm going to redraw this parabola, and I'm going to plot the width of it from right to left. I can delete that, and I'm going to redraw the parabola. from the top down, and I'm going to go to the right instead of the left this time. And I'm going to choose my surface from network of curves, pick these three, and there I have my saddle. And I'll just continue making that full shell by mirroring. I can just mirror that same one now in this direction. And there we have our saddle shell. Okay.